I'm Rick Henson with this news update for Thursday, June 2nd on KJAN. A high-speed chase in Mills County Tuesday afternoon led to the recovery of stolen property, but the suspect got away. Mills County Deputy Bruce Paulson told KJAN News Wednesday morning they received a call at around 4 p.m. Tuesday about suspicious activity involving a white male in his mid-20s and a tan or multicolored 1994 Jeep. The activity was taking place at Mile Hill Lake, just outside of Glenwood on Highway 34.
And we got a call that there was a person in that car was breaking into cars and stealing items out of the other cars that were utilizing the lake. And we just happened to have a deputy that was going down 34 that was real close. So when he pulled in, this suspect vehicle was pulling out, and he activated his emergency lights and siren, and the pursuit started.
The chase went on for about 37 minutes. Paulson said speeds during the pursuit topped 100 miles per hour at times. He says, as it turns out, the vehicle's license plates had been switched with a similar vehicle owned by a resident in Omaha.
They ended up chasing him. He was throwing stolen items out of the car during the pursuit, like radios, just personal items that were in the car. And then he crossed over into Nebraska over the Plasmouth Bridge, and we notified authorities on that side. He ditched the car, took off on foot, and nobody was apprehended as of yet.
The vehicle was recovered as evidence. Sheriff's officials in Mills County said yesterday 3 men were arrested over the weekend on drug-related charges. 26-year-old Sergio Emilio Cordova and 19-year-old David Anthony Ortiz, both of Omaha, as well as 36-year-old Jason Anthony Hall of Council Bluffs, were taken into custody at around 7:30 p.m. Sunday at Mile Hill Lake in Glenwood. The trio each faced charges which include 2 counts of possession of a controlled substance and 1 count of possession of drug paraphernalia. All 3 were being held in the Mills County Jail on $2,300 bond each. The Atlantic City Council Wednesday evening passed 5 resolutions, each by a vote of 6-1. The council, however, tabled a resolution on approving the contract and bonds for a hot melt asphalt paving and storm sewer improvement project because the contractor, Carly Construction of Avoca, had not yet returned its contract to the city. Those projects which were approved Wednesday night include a Portland Cement Concrete or PCC paving and storm sewer improvement project, the Sunnyside Park Road resurfacing and parking improvement project, the Bull Creek Pathway resurfacing project, and City Park sidewalk repair project. Councilman Kern Miller voted against the Bull Creek and City Park sidewalk repair projects because he thought those should not have been paid for through the issuance of bonds.
Last 2 items on the item 5 and item 6 is why we implemented the hotel motel tax, and you never give it a chance to save any money, and we go to bond issue right away with it. That's the reason why I'm voting no on these 2 issues.
City Administrator Doug Harris said that Henningsen Construction is expected to begin work on the Bull Creek project June 18th, and it should be completed by the 30th. Work on the Sunnyside project is underway and should be finished within 7 to 10 days, depending on the weather, of course. In other business, the council, by a vote of 6-1, set June the 15th as the date for a public hearing on a proposed internal advance and loan to fund a $125,000 incentive grant for Boulders Inn and Suites. The monies would come from the city's Economic Development Fund. Councilman Sean Schaus, who is the council's liaison to the Finance Committee, said while a development and minimum assessment agreement the city made with Boulders in May of 2010 has not officially been received, other than a faxed copy of the signed agreement, which is not binding, there is an understanding in place, and the contract is more or less, so to speak, in the mail.
The Finance Committee has met a couple of times and made modifications to the development agreement and the minimum assessment agreement. It's been back and forth between the attorney for Boulders Inn and Suites and the city attorney here. And it is my understanding that we may have actually a signed copy, not in hand, but a fax of a signed copy that is forthcoming. Therefore, I would recommend, the recommendation of the Finance Committee is that we go ahead and set a public hearing date so that we can take full council consideration of that development agreement and minimum assessment agreement.
Doug Harris said that the latest proposal presented to Boulders developers is for a $125,000 upfront grant from the city and a total of $41,000 in tax rebates. The rebates would be spread out over the course of 9 years rather than 4, thereby allowing the city a better cash flow, and Harris said the ability to fund other needed public improvements. The developer would also realize another $42,208 in tax avoidance savings. The incentives package would end up costing the city $247,464, $1,600, or about $5,800 less than what they'd offered in their package last May. In his report to the council, Harris said work on the new wastewater treatment plant here in Atlantic is progressing well, despite all the rain we've had recently. He said also that Roger Herring, the new Parks and Rec director, will be taking over for Travis Garrett beginning today, Thursday. Garrett announced his resignation earlier this year. Speaking of recreation-type activities, Doug Harris said the rates at the city pool here in Atlantic, which opened Wednesday, are going up, but with the exception of the single-day passes, the rates have not been doubled, as some have said.
I had a call, and I guess there's some rumors going around that the Park and Recreation Board doubled the fees at the swimming pool. Just to advise, what they did is they increased the family rate from $150 to $160. They increased the single rate, season rate, from $75 to $90, and the day pass did go up from $2 to $4.
The City Council in Walnut will hear from Potawatomi County Sheriff Jeff Danker when they meet this evening. Danker will discuss with the council law enforcement concerns and answer any questions they may have. The council will also hold a public hearing with regard to the proposed plans, specs, and form of contract and probable construction cost for the Walnut Street improvement projects. After the hearing, the council will act on consideration of a resolution adopting the plans, specifications, and form of contract, review the construction bids, and award the contract for construction. They're also expected to consider the adoption of resolutions pertaining to the transfer of funds from the Local Option Capital Improvement Fund into the city's general fund, street improvements capital project, and splash pad project funds, the city's TIF fund into the debt service fund, the general fund into the splash pad project fund, fire department equipment fund, and fire department ambulance trust fund. Other matters to come before the Walnut City Council tonight at 5 o'clock include discussion and or action pertaining to park issues, the raising of chickens within city limits, a replacement on the Board of Adjustment, the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2011 audit, and more. And the Potawatomi County Board of Supervisors Tuesday unanimously approved a budget amendment on expenditures in 3 different departments. The amendment will add $450,000 in spending. Expenditures for the Information Technology Department increased $185,000, 911 Communications increased $75,000, and the county jail increased $190,000. Officials say work on a new Potawatomi County courthouse telephone system and computer purchases comprised most of the new expenditures in the IT department. New communications towers used as part of the new 911 communications system also added to the bottom line. An increase in the jail's budget was said to be due to more prisoners who needed medical treatment outside of the jail and an increase in juvenile offenders. And Sheriff Jeff Danker said that while his department has seen increases in jail and communications budgets, the Uniform Division will have a budget surplus of anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000. I'm Rick Henson reporting.